Face reality, people. Movies are dead. Games are dead. Narrative? Dead.
Media is nothing but neural trigger response and viral conditioning.
Wait, what are you two talking about?
Poor Things.
E2?
That's not a bad movie at all. That was interesting and entertaining the entire time.
No, it was fucking shit.
Of course it was for you. But I expected worse. But didn't get worse. I got something very interesting. Thoughts?
Blasphemy.
Everything's blasphemy for you.
Very
Like a
creative.
9.5, man. It's just like,
Give him a fucking 3.
I had my doubts in the beginning, but it did. I like it.
I like it too, man. I like this movie. I enjoyed that. It's
You're all
interesting.
going to hell.
Got it.
Bro, you were fucking right there with us, you piece of shit. Enjoying the shit.
The details that.
It was fucking just no. It was fucking wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, but it's just.
All right, let's see if he can explain how. Go ahead, Dubster. Explain how.
I mean, the plot it worked. Don't get me wrong. And if I was a demon, yeah, it'd be a 9.5. But I'm not a demon. I'm a God-fearing man, and I don't go down that road. You don't
It's
clone
a fiction.
Got it. You're afraid.
people.
Got it.
Yeah, you don't clone people. You don't clone fucking.
You think
Goat
that was the main
birds.
point? Was to make it about cloning? I think that had very little to do with the actual plot
it's-
of the movie.
The dude's name's
Or
literally
the
God.
message of the movie, I would say.
The message is God made a person. The person went out and experimented the world. It's not God, and it was
It's a god to them, bro. It's a god to them based on the circumstances, how they were brought into the world.
yeah.
God made a person for them to experience the world.
Sure.
You're going with?
The story is understandable. You understand what the story is. That's not what I'm talking about. It's debauchery. It's ugh.
So the message is go out, tangle with hedonism and pleasure and all that shit, and then keep continuing to experiment with yourself by going into becoming a prostitute, right? Is that where you're going with? I'm asking you a question. Like, is that where you're going with? Dubster?
In a way, that's
Is that what they were actually saying?
go out there, experiment with the world, and find out what good versus evil is.
Well,
sure, that's all there. But it's saying like choose evil and keep going down evil until you figure it out, and then become the creator at the end. She became God.
That's actually not that far off, in my opinion. But it's less to do with your social stigmas in the back of your mind, like not even the back of your mind, your conditioned sense of right and wrong. Yeah, I think it has very little to do with that. This could have been anything, in my opinion. The idea of navigating the world, then coming back to where, like, that's a Jesus story as well. Is it not?
It is not.
Where he's a child, goes away, and then comes back with more knowledge than where he began with.
He always had the knowledge, and he didn't experiment with the evil.
No, you navigate it.
He did not. He knew it and did not do it.
It's called navigating it.
He
knew already. So why did he go away for?
What?
What did he go away for?
To beat it.
The 3 days
to beat it, but then he came back and then got beat up by it. How did he defeat it?
He
if
was
he came
never.
Back to it?
He was never defeated by. He proved the evil can't win.
Well, why,
He went
why,
downhill
why was
for a
there three
while.
temptations after that? Like, it doesn't make sense.
3 temptations. What are you talking
Or
about?
not? Or was it 3? Why was there temptations at the end?
What,
If he already
of
beat them,
Jesus?
yeah.
What temptations are you talking about?
Yeah, didn't he have a set, like some sort of last temptations?
What he had was what was it? You're talking about
Like
like
he's being
in
tortured,
the.
and it's like, oh, you could just do this, and you're fine. I'll let you go.
Well, I think you're going by the movie The Passion of the Christ,
Partially.
where he steps on the snake at the end, like, and he refuses the snake.
I'm also going off of what I've heard biblically. Not that I've read the Bible at all. I'm just saying.
The only thing there's noted in the Bible that he prayed one last time to say, God, is this really your will? And then,
But he was God, right?
yes,
Okay.
at the same time, the Messiah is God, yes. But he said, is this your will? And then
So he had to become man to figure out that he was God.
we never get like a answer to that in the Bible. It's just he accepts his death.
But he's not actually dying because he's God.
Well, he
Wait,
resurrected.
So did he forget?
He
Did he
beat
forget he
death.
was God? He forgot he was God
He
to
died.
become
He
man
died
in
to
order to
beat
become
death.
God again.
Huh?
Wait, I'm asking you, was he God, then
Yes.
forgot he was God in order to become man, in order to become
No.
God again?
He never forgot.
He never forgot, but yet with what you were just saying, with Father, do I need, like, is this what you ask of me, Father? So he wasn't God in that moment.
Is this your will? God, is this your will? That's
But he was God, so why didn't he
quote
need to ask
unquote
that?
said. I'm paraphrasing.
Okay, why would he need to ask that?
Well, because I guess I don't know how it works exactly on the
Come on.
was the trifecta the Messiah, God, and the Holy Spirit. I don't know exactly how it works, but he in the Bible he prays
It's the Holy Trinity.
the Holy Trinity. Yeah, I don't exactly know how it works, but he asked the question. There's no answer,
There's no
and then
he
he
there.
gets
He's just God. There's no he.
okay. Jesus asked the question.
Of
There's no
himself.
answer in the Bible.
Of itself.
Yeah, there's no answer, and then he proceeds to die. The process
So God became man.
continues.
So God became man. To what? God became man
To save men from sin.
No, I thought it was about forgiveness, right? He forgives them because he understood the life of a man.
No,
No, that's not it.
well,
don't know how
the belief
exactly
is that
works.
he becomes like the sacrifice himself, and that takes away sin from man.
Oh,
His
just straight up
sacrifice.
sacrifice. Nothing to do with the experience of
Sure,
being human,
this is good.
of hunger
I-
or this or that. To be like, oh, I understand why people steal for food. This is why I forgive them, because I understand that they
to
stole for food.
illustrate
Like, I get it.
that.
I've experienced hunger, or whatever.
Well, he also showed people that he would never let you go hungry with that life of Jesus.
Well, people still go hungry to this very day, right?
Well, in the soul sense.
Oh, spiritual sense of
Which is more
nutrition.
important which is more important than human understanding of
Then
hunger.
how'd this movie not fulfill that role of nutrition
Because-
for the psyche?
Because
the soul.
it's blasphemy and gives you a false man called God when his name was Godwin.
It's
And
called
then
symbols, but God.
He demonstrated like he was the creator, and he played as God, which is all that stuff, which is
But you're saying
blasphemy.
you're looking at it as like a person actually doing it when these are characters and symbols, right?
Right, and it's
not an
supposed to
actual person.
symbolize it's a man playing God, not.
Oh, it symbolizes
And
a man playing God.
and
instead
he's
of a man playing
disfigured,
God.
and he's disfigured.
which is symbolic as well.
It's a
Mhm.
man with an abusive father. Maybe Christ could say that
You're right.
himself.
Well, it's also saying God has a father, which
But-
would make
but-
him
but-
not God any longer.
But Jesus says he has a father, but he was God.
Right, and
So
he
that'd be
is the
blasphemy
father.
then, right?
Right.
So Jesus would be
No,
blasphemous.
no, that's
Got
not
it.
blasphemy.
said right.
It's not blasphemy when Jesus says
Oh, when he says it's
he has a
different.
father. Right.
Got it. Anyways,
God tells you is different is different.
Basically,
Anyways,
this is
interesting.
Jewish story because they think they can become the creator. Like it says in the Old Testament, in the beginning, you are like the father.
these
You-
aren't
you
real
can become a
people.
creator.
These are characters in an absolutely abstract movie. It's super
And that's what
abstract.
the Kabbalah is
So-
and that's what the Kabbalah is all about, is you can become God basically through creating things. And that's the
Or maybe
Jewish
it's
religion.
or maybe it's a different ideology of maybe even a Christian style of spirituality, which I've seen many
it's
times in film.
blasphemy it's blasphemy to any Christian.
Got it.
Any real Christian.
The thinkers of the world. Got it. The deep thinkers of the world who go out and experience these things and then tell us what they've experienced. Right? They tell us in books and journeys and all that shit. Right? There is no fucking tagline of certain words you have to say over and over again to explain away your past actions for the sake of what we call socially a Christian experience. There's none of that, right?
Well,
Let's
there is
be
the
honest.
screwing up part and coming back to good faith.
No, it's coming back to some dude at a church with a suit on. I've heard
No,
that.
not
I've
a
heard
dude
that
in a
before. I
shirt.
haven't heard the other one. I have heard the other one, but it's called
never
by
about
the
going
real
to a
Christians. It's called
building
fake
and
Christianity.
worshiping a fellow human.
What?
It's not about going to a building and worshiping a fellow human.
Oh, so what you're doing? So it doesn't. You don't need that guy then, right? You don't need that person
really-
then, right?
It really depends on which group.
The cardinal as the priest, those are unnecessary things.
Okay, you don't need them. Got it.
No, you don't.
Oh, got it. So what was this movie doing again?
It's being blasphemy.
It's okay.
So what I saw in I really separate the first half and the second half of the movie. Her character, I guess we know now she was like a child, which is exactly what I saw when I was watching.
They said it near the beginning, but good.
Yeah, like I completely saw a child, but in an adult body. I didn't know the backstory behind it, but what I was seeing, like it looked odd from our society's lens, but
Mhm.
she was being so truthful that I really was seeing it through the character much more, and I was like, this makes a whole lot more sense, and society looks really like the dumb ones because you're just not real. What she was saying was authentic, and that's what I was watching. It was just kind of, to me, it wasn't so much about good or good or bad or hedonism or like her taking pleasure in things. I think it's just experiencing things because not for the pleasure of it, just it was novelty. It was learning. It was like a child, and that's what I was like watching in the beginning. I think
I agreed, but it was in a sense of being analytical as opposed to the experience itself, which was to me like the guy, literally falling asleep with money on top of him, guy was just one experience for her of the concept of hedonism, the seeking of pleasure, and you need money to fund the pleasure, and over again, to where the cynic that the old lady announced him as, like, oh, he's a cynic. She announced him as that, and everything this guy says is kind of cynical, but not really cynical. But it's like the other side of the coin for whatever
Complete
the
caution.
person is doing.
That's what I looked at his description as, and what he demonstrated more than cynicism was complete caution.
It wasn't. I wouldn't call it caution. It's more
Like,
of
don't go down there to help those kids. It will put you in danger.
No, I don't think that's what the character was saying. I think it was more of, no matter what you're in your mind, your imagination of what you're doing is okay or right or correct. There's another side to it that you're not paying attention to, that she hasn't paid attention to until he pointed it out to her. Like, hey, you're on this lavish boat with people gambling and drinking champagne and partying and
I
all
don't
that
think
shit. But guess
I
what?
don't
This is
think
also
she
happening
carried
over
that.
here.
She didn't take his concepts as something she would apply to herself.
She did, because she's like, well, we're poor now. It was in a comical way, but they did that, right? Where she's like, oh, we're poor now, and I need to make
No,
money.
no. What I mean is, she never she wasn't constantly like, I'm gonna look at the other side of my actions. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm not gonna doubt myself. She was confident.
she was doubting others. Like she no longer just believes what they were saying. It's like
Yeah,
she started to doubt, and like so she like in the end of the movie, she's like in this environment. She's hearing his words, but she's like, "This that doesn't make sense to me. I think there's something else going on here," which she pieced together because she's able to understand like people lie to you.
She walked up to a dude with a gun pointed at her face and said, I'm gonna toss a drink in your face now. Like, she
Yeah.
does not apply cynicism like logical people would sense. That's dangerous. That dude's got a gun pointed at your face.
Yeah, but it was for the, once again, like, yes, there's the analytical aspect to the character, but I think there's something else going on to why she would do that. To where it's like, even in an analytical point or like a view of it, it's like, me not being free is a problem. That is a problem, regardless of how I don't know, how intense she puts that in as far as a category for herself. Regardless, she views it as, that's dangerous to be bound.
Prisoner.
Yes, to be bound by someone like that.
And
Right?
she didn't have to be scared. Like okay, she can recognize there's a threat, and she handled that threat. She didn't have to be scared. That's
Well,
seems
she already
superior.
confronted
With
death. She's like,
with
yeah,
the
I already jumped off a
madam,
bridge. What the fuck what the fuck you think I'm gonna
with
do
the
now?
madam though, she when she bit her twice, like, she just kept going. I guess the second time she bit her, they skipped to the point where she goes back to London, didn't they?
Um,
I think that's what
was
happened.
it?
She bit her
Maybe.
on the like her side of her belly or something.
Her liver.
And because okay, and then the next scene was they went back to London.
Yeah, I guess.
So somehow she's just like, "Fuck that, I'm out of here." But she didn't understand. Like, sh it's not like she comprehended that she was a captive to the madam. But she
Was she?
obviously was, and that's why she bit
wasn't.
her on the ear.
Yeah,
She was very analytical
never
about that
got
as well. She
said,
was.
"You got to make me 10 grand." When she bit her on the ear the first time, she's like, "You got to make me 10 grand."
She doesn't owe her money though. She doesn't actually have to be there. Like, I don't think
Well,
that was in
that's
the
what they're
plot at all.
implying. She's like a pimp saying, "You got to get me money."
Nah,
She
I
was a
think she could have
captive.
left anytime she wanted to.
Yeah, at any moment
It's
with
not.
the
That's not the understanding of brothels in any sense.
no, but the understanding of what they were showing you in the story, she
No, I
did what she
mean,
wanted.
historically, that has never been the way. If you got a madam or a pimp, you
Yeah, but
are
you
a
can't
subject.
do that shit with the movies, dude. You can't do that.
That is
You
built
can't bring
into
your
our
own rules to
knowledge.
someone else's writing.
No, 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 no,
That's
Can't
no.
do
exactly
that.
what the
That is
story's
our
about. Is
knowledge of the world.
not needing to follow the rules
Knowledge
because
of
the rules are
world.
bullshit.
Got it.
Yeah, that's
She
our
shows you
knowledge of the
how
world.
bullshit the rules are, and then that she plays her own.
Yeah. And I don't even think it's partially play, but it's very natural the way the character does it. It's like a honest observation of what's happening around her based on the more information she gets. Right? She didn't know about the fucking babies being killed underground and the poor people underneath there. But then when she found out, she had a reaction to
Egypt.
it, kind of
She
naturally.
didn't know how Egypt worked.
Well, no,
They had to take her to Alexandria to demonstrate that.
I don't think it was a symbol for Egypt, but you know what I mean.
I think it was because
No,
it's
I
the
think it's a symbol
pharaoh's
for society, like
the
someone growing
pharaoh's
up in
court.
society. Like
There's a big claim out there that there's what's called the pharaoh's court, and that's what all the royalty around the world are. That's why I think they went to
cannot write
Egypt.
it in simpler terms. It's make believe a grown adult with a baby's brain. That's what they're saying. Like, okay, it means she's learning the world. She's learning to walk for the first time, right? We saw her in the beginning trying to walk. She was walking very awkwardly. We've seen the childish
She
outbursts.
walked awkwardly the whole time.
I mean, we've talked about
Well,
this story, this theme actually without seeing this movie. A lot of times we talked about what if, like you could erase your experience and just do things for the first time. And I think she played it very well.
With no social stigma, which was a part of what the character was supposed to be, right? There's no social stigma on anything. Thus, like, okay, I'll follow your rule, and then it comes off as, yeah, my father died yesterday. Oh, isn't that pleasant? Right in that one scene, like, oh, isn't that pleasant? Splendid. Even though, like, she's just following the rules that this guy said to her.
Yeah.
Right? To where, like, they don't actually make sense in regards to someone being genuine, being honestly just a person. I think that's part of the theme of this movie as well, which is one of my favorite themes. You know, someone being authentic. And yes, they symbolized it with a whorehouse dumpster. Oh, dear God, I'm so sorry you had to see that. But I'm sorry they symbolized it through that, but they did it. And, like, in my mind, it's a fucking symbol for the experience of, like, okay, I'm experiencing the darker side of life.
The experience of whorehouses.
Yes, you see it as a literal whorehouse. I see it as a symbol of someone experiencing the darker side of life, the darker side of social life.
I consider whorehouses the darker side of life. I agree with you.
Okay. enjoy kindergarten forever and ever and ever.
Oh, I agreed with you. So you in kindergarten with me?
No,
So then I'm not in kindergarten.
I'm your teacher. Waiting for you to waiting to put like a fucking satisfactory on your fucking report card instead of absent. But yeah, regardless of what the aesthetics they gave us, as far as blatant in your face plot shit, the underneath narrative there was fucking like I call it roadside prophets, where it's like each character and experience that this Emma Stone character is running into is an experience for her to become her full self. It's not just to pick out what she likes, but to pick out what she doesn't like as well, which is part of the experience. Like, oh, like even with the Mark Ruffalo thing, where she's like, "Oh, I'm enjoying this thing. It's like this pleasure, and great food, and yada yada, and the pleasures of high society and having money and all that shit, and experiencing these things. Like, yeah, it's fun." I'd be like, "Yeah, that does look fucking fun." But then the negative side of it, where it's like, well, who's not having that? Like the cynic comes into the movie. And I wish there was more of that, personally, but whatever.
There's
You can't get it all
like
in the movie.
for
He's the one
cynic
guy who can take advantage of her too. Like,
Yeah,
Uh,
her and the older
Okay.
woman who was just like also like she said some weird answers that everyone else, like as far as the characters in the movie, they took it as weird as well, right? So it wasn't just like us as like the society we live in today and looking at it as like, oh, that's weird.
Door openers. Those two were door
There was characters
openers.
in the movie that
Yeah.
didn't take it as that weird, which is the older woman and the black dude that was with her, the cynic guy. They didn't take it as like you're some monstrosity of society. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to say that. Like, nah. This old
They were
woman like
door
took it
openers.
as
That's the way I look at it.
door openers. What do you mean?
You can say what you think, lady. That was
Yeah.
the older lady. Like, you're
Yeah.
allowed to just be a flimsical. Well, not flimsical. That's the wrong word. You're allowed to just be you.
Like, oh, maybe I've
But-
been there before. Thus, you can just speak your mind. I'm not gonna fucking torture you for. Like, oh my god, she didn't. She has
No
mustard
need
on her
to be
fucking
No
corner
need
of her
for
mouth.
candor.
Oh god.
Right. No need for
Judgment-free zone.
candor. And then the cynic, he really just showed like 3 things of cynicism.
Well, everything he says was
Or-
cynicism, honestly.
No,
But-
I'm saying he only said 3 things that really like drew to you the thought cynicism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, they didn't show enough of them to be like to where you like maybe dug in and really because her in the fucking whorehouse, I'm sure he would have been like over her shoulder, like, is this the right thing to do now? Like, are you sure? Is this what you
Right,
want
if
to
he
do?
was on her shoulder, like the angel and the demon.
Well, it's not. I get what you're saying, but I don't think it's Angel and I think it's just more of like critically thinking of the scenario you're in. But maybe she gave in, which is what happens for a lot of people. People give in to, just
I don't think
life
she gave in.
experience.
No, I think she was like, she looked at things as in like, I can improve on anything at all times. I just need to experience it to know what needs to be improved upon.
I think you're partially correct there. But she's also willing to like, grab your nose, hold on to it, and dive into the fucking deep end of the pool too. As far as like
Yeah.
what the experience might be, because you don't know where like she could have died in one of these experiences, right? But I still think she was willing to take that risk. So it's partially intellectual, like, oh yeah, I'll overcome this, right? But at the same time, it's like you could die too, and that's part of the point of doing it, I think, for the character, which is what people like. I think that's
Yeah, no-
so for what they think people maybe not should do, but like that feeling of entering something very vulnerable because you're innocent to it, you have no idea about it, you're new to it, and kind of figuring it out from that, reconfiguring things as you go through it, type of thing, which I think is what we call normal life. Unless
yeah,
you're
everybody
weird.
does. She just like looks like an adult, so some of it can look weird in an adult, but I
Yeah.
mean, everybody growing up take some risks that like
Yeah.
whether through things that happen, possibly drinking or even driving, like even driving sober. Like, you take your life in your hands. It's like really,
Yeah. True.
we all take a lot of risks. It could be motorcycling, it could be anything, whatever you
True.
like.
Very true. But I will say one sound difference is the observation of it. She's very
Mhm.
observational of what she's doing while she's doing it. And
Yeah.
then us at fucking 17 or 18 years old are not, like, not me personally, at the very least. Like, me at
Oh yeah,
like
I was
17 or
asleep at
18.
the wheel. I was
Yeah.
asleep at the wheel from like 16 to 25.
Yeah.
I can't say to 25, but when I was younger, yes. There's no observation happening. I'm just doing things like an idiot. I'm just like floating around doing things, which, my God, could, like, I think should be in the realm of healthiness, but a lot of people get fucked up from those experiences or even die at that age, like young, which is
Mhm.
terrible. So uh, yeah, it's
Part of growing up.
I mean, this is why I love, like, this movie we just watched. It doesn't remind me of Black Swan, but it's like that little thing that's in
Mhm.
Black Swan of in regards to development, to where the Nina character is searching for perfection on every level, even the quote unquote the Christian level Dubster. Yeah, I think there's a lot of Christianity in that movie, by the way. But
I
yeah.
I agree in the sense of it was blasphemy to rewrite it, kind of.
Oh, come on. Those are like, imagine telling a modern story. Like, you're asking me to watch a modern version of Job. Do you think it's going to be actual Job of him like scales
No,
on his face in a fucking hut somewhere in the Middle
no,
East?
I'm
Like,
gonna
no.
think it's blas. I'm
It's going to be
think it's
modern.
blasphemy. It's gonna be blasphemy, just like this.
Oh God, that means you don't like anything. Then it's sad.
The Job would be blasphemy.
The shift.
A
No,
modern version of it would be a
the
blasphemy.
movie, the
Apparently,
shift.
Well, Job was put through trials, right? So
that's the
that's
only
what I'm.
core story, right, Jesse? That's the only core story that needs to be cared about, in my opinion.
That's what I think of when I is Job. Like he was tested many times, many times,
And he
and
never
he
lost it.
yeah. So that to me is the story of Job.
Dude,
Yeah,
there's God.
that's the core principle. Sure,
They did it in The Dark
He-
Knight already, but I'm just gonna say
everything was taken from him, including his family, and
that's
he
Batman
got,
in the Dark
he
Knight
got
series.
leprosy,
Yeah, I know it is. Keep going.
and God wouldn't talk to him any
Keep
longer.
going. Keep going. It's
They
the
don't
Dark
let me
Knight's
have
trilogy, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it's in there, bro. But it's told through a guy in a bat suit and a make-believe guy named Bruce Wayne who's not real, right? But at the same time, you can still take the values from the story, the core story of it. You could take the values of it and make it into something, right? Is that blasphemy to do that?
Well, now that you put it on Batman, yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
yeah, because the trials no longer exactly apply since Jesus.
Oh my God.
That's all Old Testament stuff.
But the core story, like the point of it, What's the point of it? The point is to
What do
get
you
you to like
mean it
look.
doesn't apply?
What'd you say?
What do you mean it doesn't apply?
Well, because now all we have to do with Jesus is say, "I believe in you," and our
That's not true. You don't even believe
requirement.
that. Stop lying,
would-
bro.
So you would be in mass, and whoever the pastor or whoever speaking up front tells a story, you'd be like, "That's blasphemy." It's like, like, what do you mean? That's a part of it. It's
Yeah.
completely.
So The Chosen is blasphemy too, then, right?
No, it's about Jesus.
No, it's a fucking. It's their own version of the lessons of Jesus.
There's blasphemies in it, and
Oh my god! Come on, you're trolling now.
There are.
But you like the okay. Do you like the blasphemies if they fit your like taste and things?
Yes,
Okay,
but I know they are blasphemies.
meaning
That one took a lot of liberties, right? Like they just kind of made shit up, didn't they?
well, they made it more modern for like it makes more like fucking like Simon, right? Arguing with his wife. Like it's more like relatable for a person.
Simon as in Peter, or Simon as in the zealot? The zealot didn't have a wife, so you mean Simon as in Peter?
Yeah. Like it was like relatable. It wasn't like, oh my god, some god thing to where I'm like, like not even looking at it or afraid of it. Like not even like it was actually relatable. Like these are people who imagine being a guy who witnessed a guy walk on water or something. Like that's what it was kind of like the show to me.
Well, I mean, the whole thing's actually blasphemy because there's not this information about the disciples.
But you really liked it though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I agree, it is relatable. Oh, this guy comes in town and he basically proves to us he's the Messiah, and we don't know what to do about it. We're just gonna follow him because he chose us. Okay, I guess we'll go. What do you want us to do? Okay, we're gonna be nice people that want us dead. That doesn't make sense, sir.
I swear to God.
Life.
Jesus is gonna do a fucking windmill dunk on your face one day, Dubster. It's gonna, and I'm gonna be in the I'm gonna be in the bleachers laughing my ass off. One
You're gonna
day.
put the fucking his elbow over Duster's nose.
It's like this is a life lesson, son. He's gonna fucking cross you, take your ankles, and put your fucking neck through the hoop, bro. He's like, look at this shit. That's what's gonna fucking happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to see what they do with Job.
Yeah,
I'm done with that Pope
I'm-
much, but I want to see what they do with Job.
Yeah, it's not out though on the website.
Give it another 2 episodes.
Week.
I would say. No, not for the shift. I meant the young Pope. Give it 2 or 3. Give it 2 or 3 more episodes.
No,
Oh, yeah.
To see what it is, because clearly they're not being, it's the most realistic, stringent version of what would happen in the Vatican Church. Like, no, they're not doing that, right? They're doing
They're
something
telling the
else.
story. They're telling
just,
story people can't, yeah.
it's just hard for
Give it a
me to.
chance. I understand. I get it. Yeah.
It's hard for me to, like, I mean, unless I completely just take it as a comedic caricature, which it has some of that, but I don't know. I just can't. I feel too displaced from like you have to suspend your disbelief. I'm just
Yeah.
it's-
Yes, I would.
It's tough for me, and that it's like too much for me.
I would take
I
any
mean,
sense
you
of
do
disbelief,
know-
throw out the fucking window, and then watch it. And then once it gets like stupid outside of its own logic, that's when you start bringing that shit back in. Where like this is outside of your own logic you created.
Yeah, it's easier when things are so different. You get dropped in a different world. You saw this world. There's just like a lot of like what year is this, right? Like, there's a lot of that going on. So it's easier to remove yourself. But the visuals were telling me one thing, and everything I was watching that the people were doing were telling me something else, and that's where the conflict happened for me. Like I didn't know where, like it actually it had the appearance of being authentic, but the movements didn't match. Like when somebody's like words don't match their movements, you just feel like odd.
Yeah.
Well, you know that there's been corrupt popes, right?
Oh yeah. There's I'd say every single one of them.
You live in a city of gold and shit, and just I don't know, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
the
around
corrupt-
corrupt politicians all day. Like, okay, not all day, but enough.
All those are spoils. If they're just taking
Alright.
everything.
We went in a tangent. Can I get a rating from anyone?
8-2.
8.2. That's a pretty good grade. God damn. Anyone else? Or do you have reasons why, or do you want to? Are you passing it on?
Like, what do you say? It passed the smell test. Like, it was like, oh, like, dude. No, I'm saying like at the beginning, like, oh, like there's a lot going on. Like, holy shit, where are they going with this?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, and then it's like, oh shit, like she's on a fucking like, yeah, like you're saying, a messiah's journey or whatever. Like where she, like it's like she's telling everything as it is. Every
Yeah.
scenario is she's like a sponge, absorbing every scenario and then like putting it on a mirror, showing it back at the world.
Agreed. She's learning life lessons throughout. Like it's even as like what she says. Like I don't know if she says it or if it's Willem Dafoe that says it. Towards like you're trying to be like scientific about things. Towards like an actual observation, and you're actually like mentally taking notes of the experience you're having having. Yeah, I think her or Willem Dafoe says that. So.
And I like how the movie uses sex as a way to show you like to introduce you to different archetypes and like what their pros and cons are, and then like when she's like the mirror of the world, showing like fucking like interpreting them too.
Mm-hmm.
But like it changes because by the like it's like with the dude, the soft spoken dude, it's like it's one way. It's like oh like he's just observing like who she is, and like he kind of wants to. He's like yeah, I want to make you mine, but at the same time, it's like well also you got Willem Dafoe too. They just like Willem Dafoe looks like he's like a little creeper or whatever, but he's actually like kind of looking out for her too, in a weird way.
Yeah. My assumption about not as much Defoe, I'd kind of like I thought it'd just be like some maybe Nazi style scientist just experimenting with people.
Yeah.
But the dude, the assistant dude to Defoe, was actually like, or for what the movie showed me, was like genuinely, like caring about her.
And
yeah, sure.
And then think about it. She leaves him, goes with Mark Ruffalo. She then when she steals Mark Ruffalo's money and they're broke, she has sex with a man. She goes back to Mark Ruffalo and she's like, "You remember when you told me that you were the best lover I'd ever known?" And then you're like, "Yeah, you were right." Like, she's showing like, "Yo, you were right," but I had to find I had to experience somebody else to come to that realization. And then this guy went ballistic on her and shit.
He was the most wrecked in the entire movie.
Yeah,
in my
he
opinion.
was super wrecked. And then she like leaves him. She starts working at the whorehouse, and then somehow gets back to where Willem Dafoe and the guy is.
Mm-hmm.
And she's telling him like, "Yo, I haven't been perfect. I haven't done this. I haven't done that." And he's like, and then like, yeah, that's where like the genuine part comes out. Like, no, like no matter what, like you were young, you were in a phase where you had to experience things.
Yeah.
and find answers for your own and shit. So
Simp.
then, that's
Yeah,
why she
simp.
she asked
Simpology.
him for marriage.
Oh,
I mean, like, bro, sir, like, bro, that shit happens, bro. Like, we're like, oh, like a woman leaves you, bro, and then then like she at a certain point she comes back. It might be fake, but it's not always fake. Like, oh, she comes back and she's like,
Well,
she's not a changed person.
if
But like, if shit happens like that with people, bro, like I've seen that shit happen, bro.
the blasphemy there is Joseph and Mother Mary.
Dude, they're not 100% saying this is fucking Eve,
Yeah.
Eve in the Garden of Garden of
I'm like,
Eden.
wow, what are you talking?
She's not. They're not 100% like. I get what you're saying. I think there's elements to that, to what you're saying in regards to that, but I
Yeah.
don't think that's entirely the story here. I think it's part. It's
They use
mainly
that,
like just a girl, like a coming of age type of story, actually, in here.
yeah, like they use the skeletons of the fucking symbolism in the Bible, and then they make it their own.
But either which way, I think that is just a simp.
I guess, bro. I guess.
Go ahead, Dubster. What do you got? What do you got?
No, keep going, Anthony. Keep going.
No, I'm just done. I'm just showing like how she like this guy's like begging her. Mark Ruffalo is begging her multiple times, marry me. And even like in the beginning of it, she's like, "Well, no, I can't. I went along with you for fun, but it wasn't like it. But I made a promise to somebody else." And then later on, she comes and asks him, "Do you still want to marry me?" And shit. And he's like, "Yeah." And it's just like you juxtapose like how both men got to that scenario. And you
And
could,
then,
but at the same time, you could see how like at the beginning, like I don't know, maybe you differ. It did seem like, I gotta marry this girl and like take her away from here or whatever.
what'd
That's
you
kind
think
of
about what
go ahead.
Anthony? What'd you think about the Mark Ruffalo's character going and getting her former mother's
Hater.
husband?
Yeah, it sounds like something you would approve of.
I just think it's kind of hilarious that if I can't have you, you gotta go back to
Yeah,
torture.
he hating, bro.
Well, he didn't know it was torture. He just went with the like. He
I'm just
was.
right.
I think part of him, in my opinion, they didn't tell me this in the writing or the story, but part of me is thinking that like he was doing that for the sake of like I can get her back now, if I get her to give up this or stop being like quote unquote free. I can now I can get my hands on her now. Like as far as like me and her
Maybe.
can be together now, type of shit. Because he was like he showed up pretending to be the dude who's like yeah I'm just here to fuck and then I'm out of here. We fuck and that's
how
it.
he started. Yeah,
Now he's
Well,
like,
that's how he
oh,
started.
please marry me,
Yeah, he
please,
got right.
God.
Yeah, he
Oh.
definitely got right. He's like, oh, I got no emotions. I'm just here for the moment, and then he got right.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I never
It's
say
kind of
anything
like
like
there
you.
was
You drive me crazy. I want to marry
there
you.
was
It's
there
like,
was
doing that.
no actual.
Sounds like
That was another thing.
It's weird.
There's no actual confident man in this story, except for I guess the God one.
Defoe? I gotta think.
Because like
The
all the men were like,
the cynic was
I
right.
I got
Yeah,
you're
it was
the prize.
Yeah.
Say it again, Dubster.
This the cynic, sure.
No,
All the
what did you
women,
say though? Good.
but all the men that were trying to like be with I'm ignoring the prostitute guys. Those guys were like, I'm getting mine, I'm getting out. So the ones that were like in love with her, once they tripped over her.
Okay.
Well, what about her
No.
her husband?
He tripped over her.
Yeah,
For
he
years,
he
the
was.
worst.
Yeah,
He tripped the
he was the
most.
worst tripper of them all. To be honest, he was. He was like, he's like, you're on lockdown, bro. You
You
ain't
can
looking
go
at
be
no
a
one.
whore. I'll still love you.
No,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Are we talking about two different characters? I thought you meant the guy who was her husband before she jumped off the fucking bridge.
Yeah, that guy.
She was only proposed to the assistant guy.
Yes,
You mean
him.
Mark Ruffalo's character?
No, but
No,
she was
no, no,
married.
no, no.
No,
She was married before she
no, at the end of the movie.
Oh, the general. The general that was
Yeah.
rich.
Yes.
He was like the
Yes.
most right. He was like he's like, my job
Yeah,
is to territory and your territory.
no, I mean the assistant guy was the most tripped over her. He was tripped over too, the general guy, in a
Yes.
completely different
In an
fucking psychotic
overly
way.
possessive way. Overly possessive.
I still
type
say
of
the
thing.
assistant was the most tripped over her.
I think in the beginning, I thought he was going to be like that. That was my guess in the beginning. I'm like, yo, this guy's going to be like
Yeah.
the fucking, what I call him, the hipster dude who, like, I'm so sensitive. Oh my God, my emotions, my
Yo,
emotions,
the
bro.
movie is also
You know what I'm
weird because then
saying?
Willem Dafoe, like, he found a girl from the leftovers,
Well, William
and
Dafoe,
this
like
guy
you
was
said,
helping him and shit.
William Dafoe was also emotionally attached to Emma Stone
Yeah, he
character,
admitted it.
Right.
and he had to
And then
get over it with being by
he
being
wrecked
cold
himself.
blooded.
He had to find somebody else
It's
to
like
get over.
I gotta make another one
Yeah.
to get over
and
her.
not commit
Yeah.
the same.
So that means he didn't get over her.
The only dude in this movie that held to whatever standards he created was the assistant dude, which is the guy I thought would be the one who would fold. In the beginning, I was like, oh, this guy's going to fold. He's going to be some creeper, weirdo guy. But he wasn't.
Folding.
No,
I think
he
it
held
was
up.
folding.
He held up, right? I'm pretty sure he held
No,
up.
I'm saying no. What I mean is you don't want a girl that goes out there and fucks 100 fucking dudes and comes back to you. That's
But
bullshit.
he was creeping too, bro. He was staring at her fucking tit when her tit was out.
he was.
He was staring at it. He's like, "Oh fuck, I can't. I want to sleep with her." And then they made it seem like the whole reason of him getting married was to fuck her. Like, I'll get married just to fuck her. And then things started happening, and then he held on to it, which means there's some sense in that character's mind to where he's like, even if in the beginning he was just down to just fuck straight up, strictly, like at a certain point later on when time went by, he was like, you know what? There's something more here. Like, I'm looking for something more. It's not just like I'm just here to fuck her. Because like she's not some pure flower that's untouched. Oh my God, the untouched mind. She's so beautiful, flower like.
He had the absence of knowing her from that absent time.
He knew what was going on, though, bro. He knew.
Hold on.
Go ahead. Sorry.
He made her Athena in his head, or Aphrodite, like a goddess that he put to this image.
But he accepted her actual image. He accepted her actual image. That's the difference. I thought he would have folded when he found like, oh, she's leaving me for Mark Ruffalo to go fuck in the jungle somewhere. I thought he would have folded right there, but he didn't. He actually accepted her as this weirdo that she is.
That's folding to me.
Well, both Ruffalo and
well, that's why you're the general guy who gets fucking clipped and turned into a fucking goat in the fucking backyard and shit.
For both of those characters, when like they were looking to just possess her, like actually basically lock her up and like just hold on, which shows also that they're like that feeling alone shows the most insecurity, right? Like they don't feel confident enough, so they have to be like, all right, well, I'm gonna hold on for dear life because you can't let her out of your sight, right? they literally want to lock her up and constrain her to not be herself.
What is letting every other dude possess your woman?
That's not the point, though. It's really not the point. It's about.
Well, she's yours, Jesse. Tell her.
It's about she doesn't like when she's constrained that way. Then she's not herself. Like, so what are they possessing?
Fucking exactly.
But what
Dubster will never get that through his thick fucking head. He will never understand that.
If you let every other dude possess her, then she's not yours.
That's not possession. Well,
yeah.
Dubster, if you cheat on your chick, or is the chick you cheat on with, is she possessing you? Do you look at it the same way?
No, what I'm saying is if
Like if you just have a fling, like if you don't get
Is that
No.
possession of you? Or you're not possessed?
look, if I think this girl's really hot and then I don't make my move and somebody else goes and makes their move, and they have a relationship, and I kind of see them have their relationship, like in passing or whatever. Well, I understand that's not my girl.
No. You're not getting the scenario right, in my opinion. Like, imagine if you have a girl, right? You guys have been together for whatever amount of time, right? I was gonna say years, but whatever amount of time.
She was his prisoner too.
No,
Under
but
Godwin was like the warden, and he was the security guard.
what if
He's
this
a-
chick was a fucking mess, and you're like, you know what? I'm not being with you until you get your shit together. Until then, I'm gonna go off and do my own thing. Are you like?
Godwin let her go. He co-signed that, right?
He did let her go.
No, if that occurs with me, bye, see ya.
So
No,
Godwin
that's you
actually
letting
cared
her
about
go.
her.
I'm saying, whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm letting her
When
go.
I see that,
And
I know he actually cares
her.
about her. He's
Sure
not having her
shit.
as a prison.
As soon as she understood the idea of
What
being
he
in a prison
did-
like that, he let her go, which means she wasn't in a prison the whole time.
But what he did by not getting her is letting her become prisoners by other men.
Yeah, but she can't do that for herself at that point because it's just so, like if someone never showed you what this experience was or that experience was, you would not have known what it was to be like, I don't want that. You kind of had to see it for yourself, whether through other people or through yourself, through your own experience, right? Or no?
Hey, to me, he didn't even fight for the woman he loved.
He
He
did.
just let her go.
He did. He said.
didn't.
He said, "I'll beat the shit out of this fucking dude. I'll show me where this guy is. I'm gonna go beat the shit out of him." The sensitive dude was
No,
saying that
that's
shit, bro.
Mark Ruffalo. That was Mark Ruffalo, not the assistant.
No, it was the assistant. He said, "I'll go beat the fuck out of him." He said that, bro, in the movie. He's like, "Yo,
That
I'll
was
go
Mark
beat the
Ruffalo.
shit."
That was Mark Ruffalo in the ball scene.
Dude, it
where
was
they
the
were
assistant too, man. The assistant guy. When she's like, "I'm gonna go off with this dude," he's like, "Yo, he's like."
Mark Ruffalo.
when the assistant dude, right, and was talking to Emma Stone, right, and she's like, I'm gonna go off with Mark Ruffalo, right,
Yeah.
and then he's like, he's taking advantage of you. I'm gonna go beat the fuck out of him. He said that in the
And
movie.
then he did. And then he didn't.
He didn't because of her.
Yeah, because he didn't care about
He
her.
listened to her. Okay. I forgot this is the guy who says, "Make me a sandwich." I forgot it was this guy.
Come on, Jordan, you know
Let
better.
everybody
Yeah,
get together.
I thought that would hit home, but it didn't. Apparently.
You are a simp, and you are fucking.
Got it.
Got
Got it.
fucked up shit in your
Got
head,
it.
dude. You're broken.
Got it. Got it. All right, what do you rate this movie, Dubster? What do you got for me?
3.0.
3.
3.0.
Right, right when I was done. 3. I said 9.5.
What'd you say, Jesse? 9.5? You're trolling? You're trolling.
No,
You're trolling Dubster.
no, it was my first reaction right out of the. You know, like I could think about it more. I might change it, but like that was my first reaction right when it finished.
Okay. This movie is worth a rewatch. It was not a snooze at all. It was intelligent, in my opinion, and
Nah, we
there's
gotta watch. What's that
deeper
other movie?
storyline. It's worth a rewatch,
Not
in my
our-
opinion.
I gotta watch the Natalie Portman, Julian Moore movie first.
May December was actually really good. I
I
wanted to
gotta
watch
watch
that as well.
again. Yeah.
There's
With
some movies
more-
I'm going to revisit and like months from now. I'm gonna revisit them. I need like months in between my movies because otherwise I can't just go back to back like that, bro. I gotta take time.
If they're that good. No, I'm not saying do that now. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Gotta watch.
I'll give that a rewatch. I'll give this a rewatch. I'll give a Dream Scenario a rewatch.
Yeah, I gotta.
We've
yeah,
seen some decent movies recently, man. Some decent fucking movies recently. I'm fucking happy and proud of that. It's a good thing.
creative fucking movies.
Yes, risk-taking and interesting movies at the same time. Like interesting narratives and plots, and even the way they look. Like this movie looked like a very interesting, even though it's allegedly bootleg. No, it's not. Totally in the movie
Legit.
theater. We're in the movie theater right now, reacting to it. But
We got our own thing.
yeah, exactly. We gotta.
And somebody threw a jacket over our eyes for a good 30 seconds.
All right. For me, I'll give it a solid 7.8 at this point. 7.8. Because I've seen this type of stuff. I've seen the journey of discovery or the coming of age in an adult form, not just some kid who's like where they show you the kid as a kid, and then you show them as a teenager, and it's like, oh my god, coming of age, like, oh, they're growing up and they're learning what the adult world is, and they're mixing and mending worlds. Oh god, it's not exactly that type of coming of age. It's a straight up, in my opinion, an existential coming of age type of story, from straight up symbolism of being a child again, to where everything's new and you have questions about everything, and you're in the observations of everything, to the point of where cynicism clicks in, to where it's like maybe you hear a counter to something for the first time, and now you have to like look at this whole world that you didn't pay attention to before. That's what cynicism does, or
Yeah.
critical thinking, or some sense of critical thinking does. To where it's like the thing, like, hey man, oh shit, I just made a 3-pointer. Well, what if you missed it? Like that whole idea starts popping up. It's like a whole new world takes shape. To where now you're navigating the actual world, in my opinion. Right? You're not locked into happy sunshine or poor and down. You mix both worlds together. That is the beauty of existentialism to me, and I love that they showed that in this movie. There are there's flubs to me as far as what they could have leaned on for me personally in a movie. Like I wish they put more emphasis on more narrative on.
How to be a
Yes, the idea of cynicism, sure, but not really that. It's more of it feels like almost after the cynicism part, it kind of like dulled out as far as her running into characters that teach her lessons about maybe how the quote unquote real world works. I'm like, I thought that was part of the beauty of the film, is that she's a bot, she's a life bot, like learning things for the first time, and like that's
AI. Yeah.
that's like, okay, I'm with that, man. For her learning things for the first time, that's beautiful and cool, and it shows us what it means to be us. And actually, that you brought up AI right there, Anthony. That's what usually happens to me, in my opinion. What I've seen with movies that are about AI themselves, it shows us like the core theme of the movie is to show us what it means to be human, because they have a stark contrast, which is what we call AI, right? Something that's artificial intelligence, right? It's artificial as far as the idea or the narrative goes. So obviously, in a movie we might want to show what is, authentic, in contrast to artificial. So, I would have wanted more of that to conclude your movie, but they didn't. They still ended it pretty nicely. I think it was an alright ending. Just I would have wanted more to that. Otherwise, A solid movie through and through, man. To me, 7.8, solid. Not greatness, but solid. Any last words before I end this recording?
Highly recommend it.
Highly recommended. Okay.
The movie King of New York with Christopher Walken.
Have I ever seen it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know how when his woman cheats on him, he puts a bullet in her head.
Fuck, I don't remember the movie that well. I just remember Lawrence
Yeah.
Fishburne going apeshit. What a
That
cool
is
dude.
the
God. We should watch that, actually. King of New York, man?
it's good. Yeah, it's Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
No, he's not.
I've never seen
It's
it.
Lawrence Fishburne. It's Lawrence Fishburne, you asshole. I get the joke. It's Lawrence Fishburne, though. How dare you?
Yeah, I've never seen that movie.
It's... What's his
That is
name?
the thing.
Abel,
He's
Ferreira? I forgot his name. But he made some
Who?
interesting movies I've watched for. The director, I think, is Abel Ferreira. He's just some other indie movies, some bigger
Point is-
movies you might recognize. Good.
When she, it's over.
You broke up. Say that again.
If your woman cheats on you, it's over. That's the point.
Got it. That's what you got. That's what he got from King of New York, man. That's what he got from that entire movie. I think we need to actually rewatch it for Dubster. But
Well,
okay.
I am gonna get the first place. You ain't got money.
There's our reaction to Poor Things. Enjoy it, YouTube.